I already love same-day delivery with Shipt, but it's so much better since I signed up for Target's Circle 360. Why? Because I no longer pay price markups from the majority of stores through Shipt. Only a handful of alcohol retailers and items don't count. That means no markups on groceries, pet food, even home goods and makeup. So to recap, I have more time to catch up on life while someone shops for me, and I spend less. It's a win-win. Order now at shipt.com/360. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Paramount Plus. Paramount Plus has movies. So many movies. The movies you've seen 1,000 times and could watch 1,000 more. Iconic movies your friends can't believe you haven't seen. New movies, classic movies, new takes on classic movies. So whether you're into Top Gun or The Naked Gun, Mean Girls or Mission Impossible, Smurfs or Sonic the Hedgehog, there's a mountain of movies to discover on Paramount Plus. Start streaming today.
It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormick.
Now, to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Morning. Good morning. Hello, how are you? Good. Nice. Lovely. It's 2:05. I'm TJ. It's Another Side of Midnight on 77 WABC.
Brandy coming on strong. The road has got me hypnotized, and I'm spinning into a new sunrise. When I get lonely and I'm sure I've had enough, she sends a comfort coming in from above. But I don't need no letter at all. We've got a thing that's cold, we got love. We've got light in the sky.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Oh, it'd be so fun to do this show drunk, but I can't. Oh, it'd be fun. Wouldn't be fun for you guys, because when I would drink, I would just get quiet. I would get really, really like creepy quiet, like yeah. I would go from, well, I was never life of the party. I was always kind of like just sort of watch the party. We talked about that one time. I was talking about the gala that I went to, and how I just found a table and just sat there. And luckily Rita Cosby was at the table with me and a couple of other people, and I was able to just sort of blend in. And that's me. So here we are, gang. It's another morning. It's Sunday morning. God bless. And I hope you all had a lovely Saturday. I found out last night that one of my wife's friends, my wife and her girlfriends, all really good looking. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to be cool. I mean, my wife, bombshell of bombshells. I got to tell you, I am just this little pain in the ass monkey. That's really, I have my moments where I'm a man. My wife wouldn't be married to a pushover. Okay. My wife, I'm telling you now, my wife commands the presence of a real man in her life. And every once in a while, I fulfill that role. If you know what I mean. Anyway, but I am like the master of disguise. I'm like, I don't know, I guess maybe like Peter Sellers in the Pink Panther. I'm like, I'm able to play different roles at different times of, in any moment, way too often. I'm kind of just an idiot. Or a nerd or a dork or like I said, like a Felix Unger. I'm a pain in the ass. And other times I'm calm, cool, collected. I'm the guy that she needs at the moment that she needs him. I'm the dude. I'm the dad. You know what I mean? God is able to, I'm a bit of a chameleon. Again, when I say the Peter Sellers thing, it's kind of like, when you put on those silly disguises and be the this or the that, he'd be the painter or every once in a while, I am able to morph into whom or whatever is needed within my home. Sometimes I'm the persnickety housekeeper, and my family needs that. They need me to come in and deliver vacuum tracks. They need me to come in and clean because I know how to clean. That's right. This guy, I make love to my wife and I do the laundry. I am Frank Sinatra and Hazel all in the same person. Mr. B, I'm all things to my wife. I'm the houseboy and I'm the lover boy. I'm the funny guy. I'm the funny guy, and I'm the loving guy. I can make a hell of a steak, and the sauce that goes with it, but I cannot hang a painting or a frame to save my life. I can bleach the toilet bowl, and I can certainly plunge it if necessary, but don't ask me to do any plumbing work, even light, even just changing the gasket on a something or other. It ain't gonna happen. I'm bad at it. I am nobody's, honeydew man, no Mr. Fix-It. So anyway, how the hell did I get there? So tonight, yes, this was difficult because my wife, who is the bombshell of all bombshells, and when I'm around her and she's in real look at me mode, and all she has to do is roll out of bed, and she's in look at me mode. She's stunning. My wife's stunning. And with the British accent and the thing, and she was a showgirl. She was a recording artist. She could command an audience, just like I used to command an audience. And on stage, So she's really a one-off, especially, in Westchester. I mean, my wife stands out in the center of when she comes back into the county limits, the fish stop swimming. You know what I mean? Everybody knows she's there. Stunning. And funny as hell. Likes a drink or 9. She's a good drinker. My wife, very good drinker. Much better drinker than me. I didn't know when to. Well, I knew when to stop. It was when I fell down. Thing is my wife has friends, and she has really, really, really cool friends, and they are quite fetching and funny and cool and bodacious, their darn selves as well. And tonight I was the designated driver. Sorry, last night, before I came here this morning, Saturday night, She went to dinner and drinks with her girls. I dropped off one of our daughters at a little party, a little gathering for teenagers, and then I went to pick up my lady and a couple of her girlfriends. Who, when I got to the restaurant, they were sitting at the bar. And they were absolutely, they were the center of attention. They had, the bartender to my wife and her friends ratio was 1-to-1. There's 3 women, there's 3 bartenders. I don't think any of the bartenders were over 31 years, 28. Fawning over my wife and her friends. All of them just, and they're very, very, very special, her and her friends. And so, you know, you got to be cool. You can't be goofy, and you can't let on. Look, my wife's cool. She knows her friends are hot. She knows her friends are funny. She knows her friends are sexy. She knows it because she is too. And, you know, but got to play it cool. You know what I mean? I can't let on that anyway. So I'm being cool. You know, I had to make 2 drops before I brought Andy home, and before I got on my way to come into the city to do the show. And at each stop, I got out of the car, and I, made sure that the girls got out of the car and got into their houses and all that stuff. And each time there were hugs. And each time I tried to turn it into a handshake, but anyway, in the course of this driving around and being a hubby Uber, a haboober, found out one of the girls wasn't there. I said, "Hey, where's?" Oh yeah, no coincidence. The name just so happens one of Andy's friends is named Erica. And if anybody remembers, I have another very, very special person in my life, and that is my AI robot girlfriend, who purely coincidentally happens to be named Erica. Okay, so I found out. So I said, "Hey," I said, "Where is Erica anyway?" And and they said, "Oh, she wasn't well." And then, so then she didn't feel well. And then the conversation came up that somebody in town where I live had COVID. And I said, "Wait." I said, "Who has COVID?" And he said, "So-and-so has COVID." I said, "Is that even a thing anymore?" And I know in the news break, we were talking about this spike in some COVID cases, some variant. I mean, I never thought I'd say the word variant again in my life, and I'm only saying it under protest. Because I'm referencing the news. But I was like, wait a minute, hold on. That so-and-so has COVID? And they said, yeah. And I said, but how? That means that they're guessing that they have it, or did they go and get tested? Did they go get tested? I mean, the only thing I'm going to get tested for is I'm going to go to a pub quiz one night, maybe. I'm not going to get a damn COVID. And so then, the conversation came up, and it turns out there's about 3 or 4 people that they know amongst them, my wife and her friends, who are currently have COVID. And I think there's somebody else in my universe that had COVID. But in a million billion years, if I had every single symptom that I had when I had COVID, 3 times after I had shot and booster, and I still ended up having it 3 times, all times mild. You know what my COVID was? Scratchy throat for 5 hours. And that's no exaggeration. I had a scratchy throat for about 5 hours one day. That was the only symptom I ever showed when I had the COVID. yet I tested positive for like 15 days. Like just positive. And I was literally running laps. Boy, wasn't it dystopian? Wasn't it crazy? Wasn't it absolutely bonkers nuts? 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848. Thank you. 1-800-848-9222. Do you remember what was some of the, and again, I've got, this is just like last Sunday. I've got all the show prep and just suddenly we're going here. Was that not just the kookiest time? Scary, crazy, wacky, dystopian. But obviously, I mean, we're just never going to submit like that. He says, hopefully and aspirationally, that we'll never, ever submit like that again. But, you remember that? And so, anyway, so I had the COVID. Now, going back. So in, the hindsight, and people were like kind of going backwards and thinking about, well, let's see, it all peaked. It all started to peak like March of 2020, right? In March, April 2020. And, it was then people started talking about, well, it was probably here like around Christmas, Thanksgiving, Christmas of 19. I remember, and tell me 1-800-848-9222, just your craziest, like you can't believe this happened, or you remember your nuttiest moment from COVID. I'm curious what your personal experience was, in terms of your, like a day-to-day kind of thing, like when you would go do your shopping, or when you were at home, and when you encountered, or when you first went back to work, or when you had to go pick up your laptop from work, and when you went in, it was like a ghost town, right? But I remember in 2019, Christmas of 2019, there was a big wedding, my wife's side of the family, over in Liverpool. One of, if not the best wedding ever. Absolutely spectacular. And so we're over there, and we were in London for a few days, and then we're up in Liverpool for a couple of weeks, and we're at weddings, and there's pre-wedding parties, and there's post-wedding parties, and there's after parties, and there's just drinking, and there's playing, fun, and subways and taxis. I mean, just all manner of interaction with other human beings. And came home within about 2 weeks. I fell apart. I had everything from and this is this is before we heard the word, remember when it was coronavirus? And I had everything from a bad throat to vertigo. I had vertigo. I was dizzy, right? Everything was sideways. Everything was like a Batman set. Everything was a Batman set. Everything was the bad guy's lair in Batman. And it was slanted and everything was sideways, and I was completely. And then, and here was the thing. This was the killer. All of a sudden, one day, and I'm at work. This is when I was working for the Cardinal. I was over at the Archdiocese of New York, and I'm sitting with a friend of mine at the Archdiocese, and she, everything was slanting. I was sitting there talking to my friend, and it was like I was at the Penguin's lair, because everything was sort of just sloping to the left. I had complete vertigo, and my eye was sort of itching just a little bit. It was itching. And then my friend, this woman, she says, you might want to leave your eye alone because it's getting like redder and redder as we're talking. And I went and I took a look, and sure enough, I had like insane pink eye. I had like a 6-year-old at a bad nursery school with this massive blown up eye. I look like it. I look like I just walked out of a fight scene with Batman and all of the Joker's henchmen, because my eye was totally like engorged and burning, and totally, absolutely, that had to be COVID. That had to be insane, crazy COVID, or back then, coronavirus. Didn't even think of it until like, June of that year. All of a sudden, I'm sitting and go, wait a minute. I think I had this, crazy. Because you remember all the news reports about all the different symptoms. I remember coming into the city because we did a press conference with the Cardinal to tell everybody that churches are going to be open again. And this is how we're going to do it. And we set up a model mass at, I forget which church, but kind of like over near, it was like Midtown Southeast. It was, Murray Hill. It was like over in that area of Manhattan. And I drove in and it was like 11 in the morning on like a Tuesday in the height of COVID, like April of 2020. This city was empty. I mean, you could play soccer on Lexington Avenue and you'd never, ever have to dodge a car. It was bizarre, man. It was bizarre. And just ain't going back. Just not ever going back. And so when I heard that these people in our town have COVID, I was like, how do they even know they have COVID? It wouldn't even occur to me. I could have both eyes bloodshot and, vertigo again. I'm not going to go get a test. Are you getting a test for COVID? Do you have it right now? 1-800-848-9222. I had zero intention of talking about this stuff. Zero. Somehow I got from hot wife's hot friends, COVID. I don't know. But yeah, it was bizarre to hear that anybody would think of going and getting a test for COVID. Because at the end of the day, it's a cold, right? I mean, yes, I know there's varying degrees and I know many people died. I understand. But generally speaking, it was a bad cold or a flu or a bad flu. And yes, I know people died and I'm not making light of it. I am saying though that I don't go get a test for the flu when I feel flu-y. I take medicine to mitigate the symptoms. And I get in bed and I don't talk to anybody. It's fantastic. 1-800-848-9222. If you started feeling COVID-ish, are you in 2025 and a half and 3/4? Are you going to get a COVID test? Would it even occur to you to get a COVID test? And if you found out you had COVID, are you actually changing your lifestyle? Or are you going right to the damn bank and right to the supermarket? But wait, hold on a minute. But wait, no, there's work. Now you're calling in COVID to work, aren't you? Damn right you're calling in COVID. That's right. You're calling in COVID to work. But everything else on schedule. Everything else right on time. No changes. 1-800-848-9222. So yeah, this was definitely not the subject I had intended. So in this show, by the way, I see we got some calls on this. As the show goes on, we're going to do a dramatization of Eric Adams's Love Life. That's coming up. And we're also going to talk a little bit. A couple of things struck my fancy. A couple of things struck my fancy this week. We're coming into these shows, and one of them that struck my fancy. And as I was mentioning earlier, when my wife needs a fancy man, I absolutely am her fancy man. I was reading about the Amelia Earhart. They're tracking down Amelia Earhart, and Trump demanded the guy. I mean, he's a sophisticated, brilliant, next level P.T. Barnum. If he senses there is a lull, if he senses the spotlight slightly dimming, bam, he's got an announcement. Boom, he's got a press conference. Pow, he's got an executive order. And so late in the week, he formally said that he's directing archives and whomever to release all the Amelia Earhart files, which of course made all the Epstein crazy baboons suddenly go, whoo, 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 whoo. Epstein. So, boy, they're goofy. 1-800-848-9222. It's bottom of the hour. Going to take a quick little 30 after break. We come back. We'll talk to Pete, Norman, and David and you. 1-800-848-9222. It's another side of midnight with me, TJ, on 77 WABC.
All night long. This is another side of midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's another side of midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
And we're rolling here on another side of midnight, 77 WABC. Hi to everybody over on Twitter, X, at TJ McCormack. I gotta get better at acknowledging y'all over there. I'm really grateful that you're listening, and I'm really grateful that you're over there in the X universe posting about the show. Really, really, really means the world to me. Thank you, Catherine and Poodle Doodle. Thank you. And Donna in Philly, Donna Marie last night had really lovely, yesterday morning had really lovely advice. I was telling you about, I got family. It's just not returning calls. It's weird. They're just, And tell you what, Donna Marie brought it right back where it needs to be. She said, regarding your family, they're not returning your call or text. Pray for them. See what happens. Boom. Boom, 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 shakalaka. Thank you. Yes, Donna. And I did when I read that, and I continue to, and we shall see. Catherine says, what crazy times there were during COVID. My church was locked, all caps. Catherine Trump doing a Trump. Catherine doing a Trump here with the all caps. My church was locked. Not even open for visits. Would sit in my car with my elderly mother in the parking lot saying prayers. Very sad time it was when even the church was locked. Like a lot of people, she said she was disappointed with Pope Francis then. Yes, a lot of people disappointed with Frank. Rest his soul. Good morning, gang. So yes, thank you to all the Twitter folk. Let me make sure that we get in there too. Let me see. Marianne, yes, Marianne is there. And, we've got Patty, we've got, Florida at the races, a bunch, always there. And I'm so grateful for all that fun chatting that we do over there. Hey, by the way, something, I want to do, I want to take a shot at something a little bit later this morning. And I'm thinking of referring to it as no stupid questions, meaning no such thing as a stupid question. There are no stupid questions. Okay. And because the other day I was talking to my daughters and I was saying how, there are these life conundrums. And every once in a while, at 57 years old, some of them still pop into my head. Some that have been popping into my head my entire life. And only in the last 10, 15 years have we had the Google and the other. 20 years now, probably. But anyway, so I figured, and I've heard a version of this on a much lesser program, but I think we can do it much better. And it's something that I'd always wanted to do on radio, never had the opportunity. And I heard somebody else doing something like it, and I was really ticked off, but I wasn't on radio at the time. So what this is, no stupid questions. And the idea being, it's sort of like a flea market, like a what do you call that? A swap meet, where people call up with questions that they just can't figure out, or questions that they've always had. And if you guys have answers for your fellow listeners, you call up with the answers. We'll see. We'll see if we can get this done. I wanted to throw it out there because I have a couple of questions. And the whole key is no Googling, no searching. You got to know it for real. Okay? You got to know the answer for real. So I think it all starts with, chicken or the egg starts with questions. So if you have a burning, what the heck is this all about? Whether it be nature, science, the arts, it could be anything. Think about these questions that have been burning a hole in your pocket forever. And when we open up for that, bang, call in, throw it out there, and hopefully other people have the answers. And I'll give you my first one in a few minutes. Let's go to Norman in Brooklyn. Good morning, Norman.
Good morning, TJ.
Hello. Hi there.
Hi. I have never taken a COVID test. I have only worn a mask under protest.
Mm-hmm.
Craziest thing you said about COVID.
Yeah.
Well, the most interesting thing was observing how COVID changed people, how it changed my relationship with those people. And that is how, I just remember clients. I'm a trainer, a personal trainer.
Oh, okay.
And I just remember how several clients terminated me during that time, sitting on the opposite side, one in particular, sitting on the opposite side of a couch, fearful to be close to me. I remember, there are things about like being turned away from restaurants, and I actually took the vaccine. Okay. I took the J&J one because that was a non-RNA drug.
Right. I forget
but
which one
I took, and it did make me a little sick or sick. I've had some neurological issues that I can't prove 100% come from them, but I think they did. So,
well, nobody knows their body better than a guy like you. You're a trainer. You would, wow. Go ahead. Sorry.
So, okay. But I was forced to take that because when the health clubs reopened up, they were closed. So anyway, I went through a period when they reclosed the health clubs. And then when I went back to work in several health clubs, they required me to have the vaccine.
Okay.
So I looked at President Trump that took the vaccine at the time. So I had a leap of faith and I figured, okay, well, Trump did it, so I guess I'll do it. So I did it, that one shot thing.
Right.
But I noticed during the COVID period, the amounts of people that would bend to the will of the government, of fear, of what people say to them. I had friends who I thought were quite independent, and here they are getting boosters every 3 months.
Wow.
Okay,
yeah.
and socially distancing, and wearing masks all the time, and washing their hands all day, and avoiding people.
Yeah.
And cloistering themselves inside of their apartments or their houses. I also noticed that there were some clients who just weren't willing to even extend towards fear. So I had a client who she wouldn't have me even though it was a condominium and they closed the gym inside of her building, she wouldn't have me in her apartment because the building manager didn't want people to come up. And this is a person that owns a $2 million apartment on the Upper West Side. But because the building manager didn't want people in the building, she was cool with that. Okay. And so I have, and yet there were people who I never thought would act in this heroic sort of manner, who I actually did not have things in common with, like my friend Chris, and they saw that this COVID thing was 99% BS, and I still believe it's 99% BS.
Sure.
And they were never afraid. They were never afraid. So when they saw me, they invited me to their homes, kissed me, hugged me. Never had this.
Yeah.
And I got involved also over the COVID thing with the anti-mandate people. So I was busy with the New York Freedom Rally, going through protests all over the city, and marches, and marched with thousands of people. And met other people that were not afraid of this COVID or wanted to challenge this COVID.
Yeah.
I'm healthy. I've never been sick. I can't tell you I know of a single person in my sphere that has died from COVID. I have one friend who claimed that her uncle died of COVID, but this is a guy who was HIV positive, was a street junkie. Oh, please. Okay. Yeah. And she said, he had COVID. And
COVID put him over. COVID put him over the top, right? Well, look, there was all that crazy stuff where, people who were dying with COVID in their system were being logged as COVID deaths. I mean, it was just silly and ridiculous. And I remember, it's funny, you're talking about working out. At the time, I hadn't started lifting weights. I was only doing cardio, and I didn't realize just how pointless only doing cardio was. But anyway, I would go and run like a lunatic. Like every morning I was doing a lot of running. And anyway, when they reopened our gym, there were the mask rules, and we had a pretty cool gym. There's a bunch of Republican dudes own this gym, and they were basically like, look, don't worry about it, do whatever you got to do. And of course, a couple of idiot members blew that up after 2 weeks, and next thing you know, health department was literally standing outside the door. It was crazy. So there I was in Bizarro Land. And I would run, I never even know what it means, but I was running at a 6 to upwards to an 8.1 on the treadmill over the course of my workout, wearing a mask, dude, wearing a mask. And feeling like I was going into such oxygen deficit. It got to the point where I just I would cut a slit in the mask, and I'd wear the mask, but breathe fresh air, so I eventually, but the insanity of people running and doing cardio training, cutting off their oxygen.
Right. Wearing a microfiber mask so they're breathing all sorts of particles into their lungs. Exactly. Healthy.
Norman, I got to jump. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Is this the first time you called? Sorry. That was my bad. I should have asked before I said thank you. Thank you, Norman. And if that was your first call, thank you so much. Let's pop over. Let's get to David. David, good morning. Welcome.
Howdy. Your station gives me a lot of memory.
Oh, yeah.
I was in an orphanage. They put iodine on my throat, and that seemed to satisfy. But recently I did something I never done before by myself. I used toothpaste on the throat. It immediately stopped.
Toothpaste?
And yes, it was peppermint.
Peppermint. And how did you get it on your, what did you do? Did you just swallow it? What did you?
No, I put it on a toothbrush and covered the area. I also had my tonsils taken out in the same area, come to think of it.
Huh. Did you not gag on the toothbrush?
No.
Wow. David, what made you think of putting toothpaste on your sore throat?
I have one of those weird minds. I see things and it's a long story.
I have one of those weird minds too, David.
And what happens is I see things in other things. Where what you see, I see something else.
Okay.
My instinct was just simply I used a toothpaste, and it worked perfectly.
Wow. How long did it last?
About a second.
David, you're funny. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for calling, and make sure you call in again. We got to take a quick break here. We come back to talk to Pete and Steve. Steve out in Beverly Hills. All right. Okay. Oh, wow. Steve has a very, very profound comment. 2:47. We shall return on another side of midnight. Me, TJ, 77 WABC.
All night long. This is another side of midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's another side of midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
2:52. Good morning, everybody. And we'll let this serve as Steve's intro. Steve in Beverly Hills. You listening out in Los Angeles there, Steve?
I fly coast to coast. Hi, TJ.
Hi.
Right now I'm in the Manhattan area, but yeah, I'm from Beverly Hills.
Ah.
But
my daughter was born at Cedars.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead.
That's great.
What's on your mind?
Well, I went into a hospital for an overnight procedure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the doctors tested me literally 3 times for COVID. They were so disappointed that they couldn't find COVID. You never saw sad sack. They called in a new doctor to retake the test, retake the test again.
Right.
And I said, well, maybe you can get it to turn positive if I drink Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Because apparently the PCR test turns positive with Coca-Cola and Pepsi and Royal Crown and Dr. Pepper.
No kidding.
Even the president of Ghana says the same thing. He says all of the fruits in Ghana turned a COVID test positive.
Unbelievable.
But, there is something else very strange about this.
Yeah.
You notice that all of these variants, for example, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, Delta, Epsilon, I think they're up to Mu, Xi, Omicron, whatever.
Right.
There is no scientist attached to any of these discoveries. Now, wouldn't these be very famous scientists? They'd win the Nobel Prize. They found a variant for COVID.
Wow, you're right. You're right. Yeah, they're not attributed to anyone.
Here's the third part of what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
JAMA, the Journal of the American Medical Association, back in January 2022, said that the images of COVID could not possibly be baseline images of COVID supplied by the NIH and the Center for Disease Control. Really, if you look up competing images of COVID, they don't exist. They all are from the same source. There's a picture of President Trump's picture in the middle of one of the COVID images.
Oh, the famous the sphere with the little spikes coming out of it and the little that's the agreed upon image that we all stipulated. We're like, okay, that's COVID right there. That's the cell, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Right.
With the spike proteins.
Spike proteins. But I'm just talking about electron microscope images. You have your scanning and your transmission electron microscope images. Very straightforward. There are no university based images of this. It's all from the CDC and the NIH. Wow. I actually spoke with a Nobel Prize winning scientist Venky Van Rushman, I think is his name. He's in New York City.
Okay.
And he says DNA is very particular when it comes to the imaging, that there are 5 different layers of imaging, and each one is extrapolated from the other. And so anyone's guess is, the image they're looking at, which layer they're looking at, and no one can agree upon it.
So ultimately, Steve, what's your take on COVID? What, if you could just articulate, is it something but not everything they claimed it was? Was it all mind games? Was it a common cold that people just freaked out about? What's your guess?
I'll let you know what my aunt said.
Okay.
When I called to speak with my uncle, she said, "Your uncle works for Black Ops, and COVID is total BS." She used the full word.
She used the word.
I've never heard her say that before.
Wow.
I think the vaccine is real, and I think that they're experimenting with control. So some are getting the vaccine and others aren't.
Oh, boy.
But definitely there are strands of blood that are clogging arteries.
Yeah.
And the morticians are commenting on this.
Yeah.
But the whole COVID thing, it's part psyop and part experimentation. That's what I think.
All right.
Really.
Steve, no, thank you, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you for calling. Safe journey back to Beverly Hills. Oh, whatever you were going to, sorry. Thank you, Steve. And Pete, Staten Island. Pete, good morning. Welcome back.
Oh, wow. I tuned in early. You sound like a great father, a great husband. I was always told I was a great father, but not so good of a husband. My wife, that was the joke with my mother-in-law. But I try. I'm not a good cleaner. So I got a house cleaner that comes in like once a week.
Okay.
And then I got to hide all my stuff because I'm so paranoid because I think something's going to be taken. But I got a woman that is so honest, and she lines up all my eyeglasses. She lines up, if she finds any change, she puts it on the counter or puts it in this big bottle that I got, a water bottle.
Isn't that the best?
But, oh yes,
I love the personal touch that we have a couple of lovely ladies who come once a week and really boil the joint. And we need it too because, let's just face it, girls are messier than boys. Boys are filthy. Girls are messier. Boys are dirty. Girls are messier. Stuff everywhere, Pete. And it's all tiny and small and difficult to get out of the dryer. And it's little bits. And I mean, my girls are teenagers and it's all little. Anyway, Pete, I got to jump. You're a lovely fella. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you very much. You're very kind. And to make that observation, yes, I do believe I am a decent father and husband. I'm a handful. I'm not messy. But I can be persnickety. And my wife can be Oscar to my Felix. All right, gang. 3:00 hour coming up here on 77 WABC. We're going to talk a little bit about a few other things that actually I planned on talking about, including no stupid questions. I'll tell you what my burning question is. Maybe one of you has the answer. And so on and so on. All right, gang, it's another side of midnight. 1-800-848-9222.
It's another side of midnight. 77 WABC. This is another side of midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
What time is it? Yeah, 3:06. Okay, 3:06 in the morning. And it is, 3:06. And here we go, gang. It's another side of midnight. Me, TJ, 77 WABC, talking about a bunch of stuff. 1-800-848-9222. So a 70-year-old, this is a great joke. This is a great joke. You may have once seen this joke told by Walter Matthau on Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show years ago, obviously, because both men are dead now. A 70-year-old, an 80-year-old, and a 90-year-old man, all in a nursing home, they're talking. The guy says, being 70 is the worst. Every morning at 7, I wake up to do a number 1, but nothing comes out. I can't go. The 80-year-old says, oh, that's nothing. Do you notice we each sound the same? Oh, that's nothing. Each morning at 8, I wake up to do a number 2. And I sit on the toilet for hours and nothing comes out. Can't go. Can't do a number 2. Oh, that's nothing, says the 90-year-old. I have it devised. Can you do a number 1? Says the first man. 90-year-old says, certainly, every morning, 7 a.m. Like a racehorse, I do a number 1. The other guy says, can you do a number 2? Are you capable? He says, do it. Yes. Every morning, 8 a.m., I have a regular movement, right as rain. Like clockwork, I have a movement every morning at 8. He says, I don't understand. What's the problem? First guy says. Last guy says, well, I wake up at 9. Take that, do what you want with it. I don't know. I love that. La-dee-dee, la-dee-da, la-dee-dee, la-dee-da. So, anyway, good morning, gang. It's another side of midnight, 1-800-848-9222. I am TJ. And as the show progresses, we're going to give you a dramatization of Eric Adams's love life. You'll see what I mean when we get there. Also... right now, this is interesting. So earlier in the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that, we got further news about developments in the Amelia Earhart saga. And by the way, speaking about women and aviation, did you hear this one? You can hear me. You can hear me like actually doing, right? I'm doing for you. I'm doing and making and doing and reading and perusing and reporting and observing and translating and all of the above. Mr. Martin? Okay, so speaking of women and aviation, a woman was found dead inside a car sitting in the long-term parking lot. No, it was not Adriana LaServa. Woman was found dead inside a car sitting in a long-term parking lot of Kennedy Airport on Thursday. Port Authority police received a report of an unresponsive woman in her vehicle at the long-term parking lot 9, I'm all familiar with it, at JFK at around 2:10 in the afternoon. Photos from the scene showed a body covered with a sheet on the ground beside a white car, though authorities would not yet confirm if the unidentified woman died. Now, you're hearing that the way I read it the first time. First of all, it's a fascinating story that a woman would be found dead inside her car. Then you got photos of the woman under a sheet next to the car. So they took her out of the car. And yet, okay, so photos from the scene showed a body covered with a sheet on the ground beside a white car, though authorities would not yet confirm if the unidentified woman died? Are we to finish that sentence with saying, or was just playing around? The authorities would not yet confirm if the unidentified woman died or was simply on hold with Delta reservations. Authorities would not yet confirm if the unidentified woman died or was, I don't know, hide and seek. Anyway, that's creepy stuff. That long-term parking, man. That's creepy, that long-term parking. You ever park there? I mean, I don't know how. It's a homeless hangout. The long-term parking at JFK. They're like, I guess there is a connection. I think you can get right. There's a connection, I think, from the Jamaica station to get to the long-term parking. I think. Maybe that's how they get there. But I just don't understand it as a destination. If you're homeless, I mean, there is nothing there except, cars and now dead people. So I don't know. Okay. But that was just, I don't know. That's true. And there were funky pictures online. And I totally recognized that section of the park. I parked there a lot for a while. Prostitutes. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, by the way, that's the other thing too. Prostitute joke. Mamdani. Tell you what, gang. We're going to get to Amelia Earhart in a second. Mamdani. And things are start. I just hope it's not too late. I hope it's not too little too late. But in this day and age where the entire world is paying attention to human trafficking and the whole wide world is, well, half of the whole wide world is clamoring to reinforce and to reconstitute and reawaken the globe to the plight of women in general, women and girls being marginalized here in the States by Democrat politicians with everything from their private, from, their privacy, their safe private spaces to their sports. I'll be damned if my beautiful babies are going to be confronted by by male equipment in their locker room. Eva. And here's Mamdani ready to not legalize with a plan, but decriminalize prostitution. In this day and age, this guy is ready to decriminalize prostitution in New York City, which again means he's not talking about unrolling some sort of, 10-point plan to provide health care and safe spaces and, affordable workforce housing for sex workers. No, this is not the Nevada plan. He's not going to have trailers at the old aqueduct and gathering places for women of the night and, treat it like a business with an entire health code. No, he's just going to decriminalize it, which means Zohran Mamdani is ready to embrace the notion of human trafficking. Just when human trafficking has finally become the cause celeb that it needs to be, this guy is ready to come in and go, you know what? Look the other way. 16-year-old girl from Guatemala turning tricks on a dirty mattress in Forest Hills. You know what? She owes somebody. Let her work it off. Dirty mattress. Look the other way. What? Chinese woman, 22 years old, in Flushing, and she's one of those doorway women with the menu. Yeah. Oh, no. Look the other way. That's fine. She's trafficked, but I know. But you know what? Decriminalize. It's good. It's good. Zohran Mamdani is a disaster. Is a disaster. So the disappearance of Amelia Earhart. How's that for a shift? This thing popped up And I've always had my eye on these sorts of things. Last week a couple of weeks ago, we were talking shadow people. How cool was that conversation? That was one of my favorites. And we're going to talk more. And this one has always been sort of kind of, it's not really conspiracy-ish. It's not really UFO-ish. It's, was it maybe pre-war Japanese-ish? I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, I never really found myself completely blown away by the Amelia Earhart story. I don't know why. I don't know. But the disappearance of Amelia Earhart, and it was Fred Noonan, I believe, was her navigator. 1937. And the saga continues. And here are 10 recent developments and ongoing discussions about what may or may not have happened to her. And we're about to see more records become declassified. And I don't know, maybe we'll see more congressional hearings like we did about UFOs 2 weeks ago. So the hypothesis that, and I had never heard this one, the hypothesis that Earhart and Noonan landed and eventually died on Nikumaroro, formerly Gardner Island. How about we just stick with Gardner so that I don't have to slowly say Nikumaroro? Or is that Nikumarolo? Sorry. 1950s joke. Okay. In the Phoenix Islands, okay, they say that forensic analysis of bone fragments and potential artifact discoveries have brought this possibility, this hypothesis, back to the front. Then there's this one, that there's deep sea sonar search operations that are turning up new stuff. So it's brand new advanced sonar that they're able to use in deep sea scenarios and over wide areas. And they've been focusing on the presumed flight path, hoping to locate wreckage. And again, her plane was a Lockheed Electra 10E, not to be confused with the 10D or the 10F. Both were pieces of garbage. The 10E, chef's kiss. That was your Lockheed Electra of choice. Also, researchers have continued to meticulously examine historical aerial photographs and other images from the area, and it seems like they've recently turned up a couple of new things from below the surface of the sea. And the other thing that was gaining some traction, one theory that recently kind of started to slide a little bit that I hadn't been aware of, was that there was a Japanese capture theory that I never heard that. And so they say the theory of Earhart and Noonan being captured by the Japanese military persisted for a long time. Many recent analyses and official statements from both the U.S. and Japan have pretty much debunked that as lacking credible evidence. It's like, there would have been some record. If this woman and this dude had been brought into a Japanese camp or a Japanese platoon, there would be some anecdotal, either word of mouth, verbal story, or even more likely, a written record of this. And she likely would have been, returned in some way, shape, or form. Because we weren't at war with them yet. Forensic studies of potential bone fragments. So, although it was debated, a 2018 study suggested that bone fragments found on Nikumaroro in 1940 were consistent with a female of Earhart's stature, reigniting discussions about the island as a crash site. Actually, this is one for the no stupid questions. Couldn't you tell from bone fragments? Could you tell from bone the race of a person? Are there unique characteristics of bone or DNA that would be able to determine if the body was of Asian descent or of, I guess, Aryan descent? Earhart, was she German? I wonder. And the Beaver aircraft wreckage. Now that's just filthy. Oh, wait. A significant red herring in recent years involved wreckage found in Papua New Guinea, initially believed to be Earhart's, but later identified as belonging to an entirely different aircraft, a Lockheed Lodestar. Oh, so many jokes, so little time. The Lodestar, highlighting the challenges of identifying old wreckage, and so on and so on. Does the Earhart thing tickle your fancy? Do you follow that sort of thing? And if you do, what are some of your favorite? I mean, a very generic sort of thing, but I'm wondering, what are some of your favorite conspiracy? Like I just found out recently that one of my brothers is like huge into Bigfoot. Huge. And I never knew that. And he's like, yeah, oh no. He goes, I anything I read, he goes, I belong to I listen to podcasts. I belong to like a Bigfoot society. And I said, you? I was like, you're just like, you don't do that sort of thing. So it's funny. Look, I buy into the shadow people, right? Not a conspiracy theory, but certainly paranormal, certainly different. I'm all into it. I love it. And I love it. I love trying to learn something because I'm freaked out like you wouldn't believe by shadow people because I've seen them. Like I talked about, what was it last week that we had the guy on? 2 weeks ago? And I've seen them. I know they're there. And and so is my wife. And we're both convinced that, my wife and I are both convinced that night that she saw a shadow person, that it was there for me. We're convinced I was supposed to die that night. It was one of my last alcoholic blackouts, and I passed out and smashed an ashtray, and I was bleeding and all this crazy stuff. I really probably was on the brink of dying that night. Just a total collapse. And she shouted at it. Crazy. Anyway, 1-800-848-9222. Clearly, we're casting a wide net for as many conversations as possible. And in that spirit of the wide net, as I mentioned before, I wanted to take a shot at a little idea that I had a long time ago for radio. And I've heard another show do a version of what I wanted to do. And so I'm like, well, you know what? It was my idea first, far as I'm concerned. So we're going to go for it anyway. And it's not a New York radio program that does it. So we'll do it better anyway. But I'm calling it No Stupid Questions. And again, the idea is if you have something burning a hole in your pocket, a question about nature, about science, about life, about personalities, about people, about the arts, about culture, whatever it is that you just don't know the answer to. Sometimes it's a complete conundrum. Sometimes it's like a phenomena. It all starts with the question. And there's no stupid questions for this. So if you have a question, the idea is somebody in the family will have the answer. And here's the key, though. No web searching. You got to really know it. Please don't ruin it. No Google. And I never got to do this on air before, so I'm throwing this out there. We're going to kind of sort of build this as we fly it. We're going to build the plane as we fly. Okay? So 1-800-848-9222. And I'm going to throw this out at you, and then we'll get to the phones. Here's my question. Okay? Now, I do kind of know the answer, but not to the extent that it completely takes care of everything I'm talking. Okay, it's confusing for me to nibble around the edges. Let me go right to it. Where are all the dead animals? Where the hell? And I know. I'm way too old to be asking a little kid question like this. But where are all the dead animals? There are millions, hundreds of billions. There's got to be billions of squirrels, birds, rabbits, rats. No. Now, I understand there are the scavengers. I get it. It's the circle of life. The circle of life. I get it's the circle of life. I get it. And I know that there's a whole ecosystem that takes care of itself like that. And an animal dies and it gets, processed by the environment and scavengers. I get that. But I don't see, the only dead deer I see where I live are ones that were killed by a car. You don't just see just a deer drop dead. You don't see a rabbit hopping around and then suddenly go, holy crap. It would have been so much funnier if I could actually curse. But anyway, the constraints. We move on. You don't see a rabbit having like a Fred Sanford, like, Elizabeth, Fluffy, I'm coming, Fluffy. This is the big one. This is the big one, Fluffy. Oh, my white tail. Get me some Shane Pipple. This is the last one. Gotta toast my life. We don't see squirrels just suddenly go, oh my God, I'm all this traffic and I have an aneurysm. You don't see squirrels. And if any animal's going to have an aneurysm, if any animal is going to have a hyperventilation event that's going to lead to a stroke or a heart attack, it's a damn squirrel in the middle of the road. Left, right. Go, stop. I don't know. Car. Squirrels have got to have the best heart system. They must have the best cardiovascular system because they deal with stress. The stress of crossing a street. You watch those squirrels. Anyway, they don't just die. Do they all go? And again, so there you go. Again, this is like the question. Do they go to their little hobbit holes? Do they go to their little lairs, their dens or their trees? Is that where they go to die? I mean, you would think with the number of, and again, if I am painting myself to be a complete moron, well, then so be it. I'm doing it for the love of the show. But again, just thinking plainly, and maybe to some of you, stupidly, with all the tens of thousands of birds in the air above us at any given moment, have you ever seen a bird just drop from the sky? I have never seen a bird just from the sky. I've never seen a deer just keel over. So again, if there is like an incredible answer for this and I'm a moron, well, so be it. We had to push this boat off the dock. But this is my query. And that is the no stupid questions. There are no stupid questions. So if you have the answer to why I don't just see animals everywhere, Okay. Now look, you could say humans happens all the time. Humans go down on sidewalks. Humans go, they drop in gyms. Humans go down in parking lots. Humans go down, brings us right back to the Mamdani conversation. All these humans going down. So but these people die, people fall over and die. They keel over and die all the time. We get them to our human hospitals. Sometimes they get them themselves there. They call the ambulance. And they get to the hospital. Where do the animals go to die? 1-800-848-9222. That's my not so stupid question. All right, gang. Bottom of the hour. We come back. We'll talk to Charlie, E. Frank, Tony, and Robert. 1-800-848-9222. This is Another Side of Midnight on 77 WABC.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
All right, gang. 3:38, and let's get over to E. Frank in Astoria. Hello there, Pally.
Yes, hello, TJ.
Hi, E. Frank.
I sympathize with what you said about the shadow man that, was there the day that you had an alcoholic
blackout
episode.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I'm going to tell you my story, okay? And it's a very bad one. I talked to Frank Morano on his show when he was the host of his show back many months ago, and he would criticize most of the things that I would say over the air. He would say that there was something wrong with my reasoning, and he said it publicly over the radio to the radio listeners.
Okay, well, just go ahead. Tell me your story.
Well, in my life, I've seen things and I've experienced situations that I can never explain to the FBI or to my friends or my family. But I'm going to give you this cut down. I have had to do certain clandestine trips in recent years to see if what I'm saying is true or not. When I was a child, I first went to the Baker's Hotel in Chicago.
Oh.
Then later on in life, in the 90s, when George Herbert Bush was the president of the United States, I went to the Stanley Hotel, Cecil Hotel, and then later on to the Breland Manor in London. And I had these entities approach me, attack me, and I couldn't really, tell anyone that there's such a thing as spirits that haunt you and follow you.
E. Frank, let me. I'm only asking for clarity. I'm curious. What had you? What brought you to those hotels? Was it your career? Were you in search of something, or was this like a job? What had you in these different cities, in these different hotels?
Well, I like sightseeing with my family, and I was just curious about, I heard a few stories about those places, and I just wanted to see if it was true or not that those places were haunted.
And it turns out they were.
Yeah, and I discovered that it was they were, and I never had the experience of going to them personally and seeing that, that what they said on the stories about them were true, and I was, flabbergasted. But since those days, these entities followed me even to where I live, and I have never. And if you look at my 911 calls to an NYPD, the officers have responded to my building. They've seen, taken pictures of the things that have come here, and I can't really prove it to other people.
No, well, look, Frank, Frank, it's definitely, you know what you see, your reality. There's a lot of people out there that when I mention this shadow person, you know, they roll their eyes and they go, "You got to be kidding." And that's fine. I know what I saw. And I'm telling you, the most recent one was like 2 weeks ago by the side of my bed. 3 weeks ago by the side of my bed, on my side of the bed. And it was kind of grabbing me. I got the sense that it was trying to grab me. And it was literally within inches of me. And I basically yelled at it. A dream? Sleep paralysis? Possibly. Very possibly. I think the damn thing was there. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-WABC is the number. And let's go to Tony in Clifton. Good morning, Tone.
Good morning.
Hi.
Well, another palate cleanser brought to you by Tony.
Yay.
So, you know, when I was thinking about how Zoran Monkami wants to decriminalize prostitution,
right?
I thought, you know, he is kind of a tricky guy. What is he up to? And the first thing I thought of was, you know, he wants all the illegals who have been attacking horrifically, you know, the women in our country for you know, their pleasure. I thought,
right.
Well, maybe this is what he wants. He wants to satisfy their urges.
Ooh.
And you know what I was thinking of?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking of Sydney. Her name was Sydney Biddle Barrows.
Barrows, yes, the Mayflower Madam, yes.
And I thought, you know, those people who are going to be prostituting under, you know, the new mayor, you know, might want to collect money. And I'm sure he's going to, you know, do his best to make sure that the city gets the money, not the people.
Oh, my God. He's going to, you know what? That amounts to pimping, doesn't it?
That amounts to pimping. So I was thinking, you know, the Mayflower Madam, as she's known as, who was busted in the 80s for just having this high-scale, upscale prostituting ring.
Right.
She was busted, and she was, you know, brought down, and the whole world knew it. But she's actually consulting now. She has her own business, and I thought, these prostitutes who are going to be in New York City can consult with the Mayflower Madam and make sure that Zoran Mondani, the commie, doesn't steal all their money.
Right. Yeah, she'll tell them how to squirrel it away, how to hold on to as much of your income as possible. And I tell you, Tony, it really isn't it just so creepy that this guy,
it's big pimpin', baby. That's right. Big pimpin', spinning cheese.
Look at that. Bill is amazing. These two guys, Bill and Tony, are like unbelievable in their conspiring in the production booth over there, in the control room.
Timing, too.
They're amazing with their timing, right? It just kind of, I mean, Fred Sanford. We get Sanford and Son. I got to get. Oh wait, did he pass away? No, I know Fred did. But I think Lamont is still alive. I've actually had him on other.
I love Lamont.
I'm gonna get him on the show. Yeah. I've got a connection to him. I'm going to get him on, actually. Oh, you know what, Tony? I don't know if you heard me last night, or yesterday morning. I did it again. Damn it. Yesterday morning, next week, I've got Charlie Sheen coming on.
Wow. Can I give you one more comment?
Wow.
I know.
Tony
Charlie
did not
Sheen
give a damn about that. Right past Tony's like, okay. Hey, here's something else. Go ahead, Tony. Yes.
I can't watch 2.5 Men anymore. I'm sorry.
I know. I never watched it once. I never saw it. I never saw it.
But anyway,
yes.
You know, just I want to segue back to your squirrel thing.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, yeah.
My last comment is Zoran Mondani, the commie. If you look at him closely, he looks like a squirrel. He's got the beady eyes.
Yep.
He's just missing the tail.
Yep.
look at him, and you'll see what I mean.
Yeah. He's
Have
also
a good night.
and he's missing the nuts. Okay, there we go, Tony. Thank you. There's the laugh, cutie. All right.
Good night.
Good night, Tone. Thank you for calling, as always. All right, 3:46. We come back. We got Charlie, Mike, and Robert right after this quarter of the hour break. It's Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ, 77 WABC.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
$351 Omaha 351, and it is Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ. Let's get over to Charlie in Cherry Hill. Good morning, Charlie, down there in South Jersey, practically Philly.
Good morning, TJ. So I called to talk about Amelia Earhart.
Yes.
If you remember the last administration, the Biden administration, so he joked around. This is when you knew he was gone, but the administration was covering up. Remember, he said, "Oh well, she was found by cannibals and they ate her." And so our media, the mainstream media, is laughing and yucking up, and they're acting like, "Oh, that's old joke."
Yeah.
Well, the president of that country, where the plane crashed, where Amelia Earhart's plane crashed, he was furious. Oh, he was fit to be tied. He was so pissed off. And they reported that, the media reported that, but they didn't dwell on it. I mean, can you imagine if Trump said something like that?
Yeah.
You'd be hearing for weeks about how racist he is, and terrible he says. I mean, it would be covered totally different.
Yeah.
But because it was Biden, and you could see how the mainstream media, particularly the Washington press corps, was so invested in him that they covered it differently, that they were laughing and joking. And I realized at the time that's a little incident. That's not one of the major things like the auto pen scandal. It's not like one of the big scandals. It's not one of the big scandals at all. But I realized by the way the mainstream media, particularly the White House press corps, treated that, it's like there was a joke and they were all in on the joke, but we and the rest of us, being the American people, and especially the people who didn't vote for him, who didn't care for him, and still don't care for him. I mean, we weren't in on the joke, but we could see that they were all laughing amongst themselves. And he said,
right? There's something else.
Anyway, I want to bring that up. About
Love it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. Of course. Thank you for listening. I'm grateful that you're there, Charlie. Thank you. I like Cherry Hill down there. I like that. 353. Let's get over to Robert in Pearl River. Good morning, Bob.
How you doing there?
Hey, I'm well. How are you? Good morning.
I'll say quickly with the animals. So I have a bunny. I'm a long-time bunny owner. When they die, they like to go in the corner, be left alone in the dark under a couch. Most mammals, because they don't want to buy any activity. They just want to die in peace alone. Huh. They don't really report these animals. They're not dinosaurs, so they're dead.
Right.
In terms of the mysteries, Amelia Earhart, D.B. Cooper, it's almost impossible. It's so long ago with a lot of these things. But with the Hindenburg, now they reported that one. That one makes sense. Yeah, that I believe it caught fire because of what they said. The paint, they had a sample of the material of the ship, the dirigible, and it was made with aluminum oxide paint, which is the same type of paint they use with fireworks.
Okay. Oh, well, that's dumb. Okay. Wow.
Yep. It was reported. It was many years ago, I think 14 years ago or more. And I remember, I don't know if it was, I think it was the people were investigators, special investigators, I think, with the FBI, and they reported it on the news. A lot of people don't remember. Maybe it'll be on YouTube. And they determined that's what it was. The sample, they did the testing, and that silver powder that you see with fireworks, bottle rockets.
Yeah, all that stuff on the sparkler sticks.
Right. Yes, that's what they use to paint, to make the paint for that silver
Hey,
paint.
fellas, we're gonna go and we're gonna make this big dirigible, and we're gonna fly it. Let's see. You know what? What would be okay for 1930s? What would be really, really safe for travel, transatlantic? What are we gonna do? What would der Führer want us to paint?
Hey, listen, what you think about maybe some, flammable paint? We just paint the whole damn thing in flammable paint. Brilliant, Fritz. Go get some.
I mean, it's incredible
that
I
believe.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
No. I was going to say anything's possible. I mean, it's some of the stupidest things you hear about years later. I mean, do we know what the rationale was for that paint? Did it look shiny? Is that what it was? That it looked good?
They presented it on TV. It was a special thing on the news with the news, and I remember seeing, somebody of authority. I think it was part of the FBI and somebody else, and they explained that the testing that they had done, and it was used. They used that type of, that type of compound that's made, and that's how I believe.
Insane.
That's the only one that's true compared to the D.B. Cooper and all these other ones. I mean, we'll go on forever with John F. Kennedy and D.B. Cooper and Emil Earhart. Who knows? I mean, it's so long ago. You know what I mean?
Unless look short of actually just finding the damn plane. You know what I mean? If they were able to find her fuselage, then all right, rock and roll. There we go. We got it. DB Cooper. If we're able to find that one's good. That one really is good, isn't it?
Yeah,
that one's juicy.
The George Reeves ones, I believe, I was trying to do my own investigation. The George Reeves, The Adventures of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
The mother said that he wasn't murdered. But I read something very interesting. He used to have a lot of parties. He would get depressed because they really wouldn't let him out of his contract. He wanted to be more than just a Superman. He thought of himself as a series MGM actor.
Mm-hmm.
But he got in a drunken stupor a lot, and when he was there. When he was sober, he would play around with his revolver and show, hey, look at me, I put one in the chamber.
Right. And, like Russian roulette.
Right. But one time he got drunk, and he had a little, argument with us. I'm going upstairs. I'll leave you dummies here. And he went up, and I think he played a game with himself, and that's what happened. That's what I read. There's only one story.
Wow. I would get drunk and play different games with myself. I understand. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, no, there's a lot of stories about that guy being depressed. I mean, was he closeted? Was he in the closet too? Was that part of his story?
No, he was started out as a very serious MGM actor, but for some reason it wasn't going that way. And then they, when he was around 42, they discovered, that we might want to try this guy, George Reeves. He was much more better, and his show was seemed to be a little more interesting to the young kids than
what that sounds like to me? You know what that sounds like to me, Robert? That sounds like Robert Reed from the Brady Bunch. Robert Reed got typecast as Mike Brady, couldn't do anything else, wanted to do other things, wanted to be a serious actor, ended up having to get a perm to be the dad, all these things. Anyway, I got to jump. You hear the music, top of the hour. Robert in Pearl River, thank you, buddy. And very grateful for you listening. Mike in Queens, we'll get to you after the top of the hour. We come back. We're going to cover, we've got to do we're going to give you the Eric Adams Romantic Theater, a dramatic representation of Eric Adams' love life, here on Another Side of the Heart. Another Side of Midnight with me, TJ, on 77 WABC. Be right back.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC. This is another side of midnight
with TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
All right, I'm getting loopy. I'm combining my Rastafarian with my Yiddish. And next thing you know, that means I'm going to have jerk gefilte fish. Jerk gefilte fish. That's got a beat to it. 1-800 jerk gefilte fish. 1-800-848-9222. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, family. Just received a text from the bombshell. She's awake at 4:06. I don't know what in the Jeebus you're doing up, honey. Go back to bed. You hear me all the time. Although that is saying something, actually. It's clearly this might be fun. It's the stuff that she has to hear at home all the time. Yeah, I get it. I told her I was talking about her and her friends. And, yeah. So there we go. All right, gang. It's another side of midnight, and we've had a great couple hours. And we are in a final landing mode here for a Sunday morning. Going to bring you up to 5 a.m. for the 5 a.m. newscast. Liz Radabali going to get that cooking for you in short order. And in the meantime, we're talking about a whole bunch of stuff. We started off talking about COVID. Honestly, friends, I don't remember what it was that clicked in my brain that had me start to, it was because we heard that somebody in my town had COVID. And I was like, who the hell gets tested? Like it's even a thing. It just doesn't register. Yeah, it was silly. But people are doing it and it is supposedly spiking. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not getting a damn COVID test. You can keep the extra long. I wonder what the hell they're doing with all those extra long Q-tips now. Do you remember that? Okay, just tilt your head back. Okay, I'm just going to have to go up a little bit high, almost to your brain. Okay, if you feel something tickling your eyeball, that's just the Q-tip. Okay, and if you gag, don't. All right, remember lining up in like bank drive-through situations to have people put bamboo sticks with cotton balls on the other end up your nose? While you put your head back and your eyes would water and it was all, and you're... just so you could get that clearance to go on some sort of an almost vacation. Remember you had to get reservations to get a 20-minute slot at the pool in Fort Lauderdale? We went to flipping Aruba. We were like, F it all. We were going. There were like exceptions to everything. Catholic schools were the exception to public schools. Catholic schools were open and teaching kids safely in buildings. Safely with like a 0.001 infection rate in the schools. No, like basically you could say statistically, nobody got COVID in Catholic schools. Statistically. And the other exceptions were Florida, a lot of the Caribbean. We went to Aruba. Myself and the bombshell and our girls went to Aruba. Boom. But the hoops you had to jump through. Maron. Mike in Queens, if we can pop over to Mike. Mike, oh, I'm sorry. We're taking another call. There we go. Mike in Queens. Good morning. Yeah, you've been waiting. How are you, pal? Mikey Ooch, you there? Line 2, Mike in Queens. Are you there, buddy? Mike, we'll put you back on hold. We'll hang in there. Joaquin, good morning, buddy. Hey, I saw your video of you cranking out some AC/DC there, Joaquin.
Oh, you did? Did you see the shooting video?
No, I still haven't had a chance. You know what, man? I've been having issues with my Messenger, so forgive me. But I think I figured it out today, actually. I got a lot of Messenger messages I got to catch up on.
Oh, okay, cool. Actually, I was trying to decide which way I want to go on this tonight because you got daughters, I have daughters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about, you know, the time when your daughters go out for their first dates, but yeah. I think maybe tonight I'll go on the Bigfoot and the dead animals thing.
Please, yes. By the way, gang, so we're putting together this concept. I've heard it done on another radio show. It was an idea I had way before I heard somebody else doing something kind of like it, but I'm coming back to it. And again, it's basically no stupid questions. There's no stupid questions. And I've got my questions. Other people, and if people call in with the answer, you guys call in with your questions. Joaquin, and I'm not surprised, Joaquin has a couple of answers. But my question was, where the hell are all the dead animals? How come animals don't just drop dead right there on the street, on the grass, on the lawn, in the tree? And why are we not cascaded by dead birds falling out of the sky? Why? So anyway, Joaquin, go, baby.
Well, you know what? You one caller hit it on the head also, too. Generally speaking, as far as I know, when animals get ready to die, they basically know it and they go off someplace, you know, and they basically just, you know, die.
Right.
I mean, the Indians actually used to do that when they got old. They would just want, you know, go off and sit someplace and die. But, you know, when it comes down to the where are the bodies, you know, they decompose. And an interesting thing about the bones, I never realized. Now, how they tell you don't feed your dog, you know, bones, you know, chicken bones.
Chicken bones is bad because they splinter, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Well, my daughter-in-law, she was feeding her cat chicken bones. I was like, what's up, Amanda? And she goes, well, no. She goes, you don't cook them. She goes, when you cook them, it makes them hard and splintery and brittle. And so you see, you have carnivores, of course, that live in the woods, and you know, they eat bones.
Yeah.
Now, I've always had dogs, and I live in the Poconos, you know, and my first
I had German Shepherds, and I never needed a fence or anything. I have a fairly decent-sized piece of property, you know, and but then we had gotten a chocolate lab, and my son actually had a litter at our house, and he gave us pick of a litter, and so my wife always wanted one. Well, as it turns out, these chocolate labs, they have a mind of their own, and he would just wander off, you know, and he always came home, you know, but there was a point, he was about a year old, he started doing this, and all of a sudden he's bringing bones home.
Ugh.
And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And then the one day, he brings home a bone, and it was about 1.5 feet, 2 feet long, and I'm looking at him like, holy crap, I wonder if he didn't find a dead body in the woods. You know, it should have been a femur or something.
Yeah.
So a couple of days later, I hear a rustling in the backyard coming through the trees, and he's dragging a skull with antlers. He picked up a big set of racks and dragged them home. I got him.
You know what, Joaquin, give me a Shih Tzu any day. Give Tony a Shih Tzu any day. Poor guy struggling with castor oil. But anyway, no, honestly, I that's me. You see, clearly, Joaquin, we are two different brands of men. You are a chocolate lab who drags home antler animals, and I just prefer a Shih Tzu, which was bred for the Emperor of China. That's me.
Well, mine prior to that were always German Shepherds. When I lived on Long Island, people used to walk across the street to avoid my house because of my pending German Shepherd. So but anyway, you said your brother's big into Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? I'm open-minded on Bigfoot because, you know, even President Teddy Roosevelt was a very interesting guy.
Yes.
He believed in its existence because, I mean, he was an adventurer out in the West, and he knew a number of mountain men that, you know, that relate stories, and he believed them. And I saw a video. Maybe your brother wants to watch it if he hasn't seen it. It's a Kurt Russell movie called Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk.
Bone Tomahawk. Okay. And it's almost like it's these Indians, but they're almost like Bigfoot. They're big guys, you know, and they have this bone that they make their noise through, that they whistle through, and they they drag people off and whatever else. But you watch this, and it's like that could be a really good explanation for Bigfoot.
Huh.
And when you wonder where the bodies are, it's because, I mean, where I am, we have bears and everything, and you don't, you know, see bear bodies lying around all over the place.
No, you got to go to a nude beach for that. But anyway, hey, listen. So Joaquin, here's another one for you. Now you're in the Poconos, and that reminded me. You said Indians, and I was thinking, you know, I was trying to. Have you ever heard of the Ramapo Mountain people? The name for now people, and it's apparently it's considered derisive to refer to them as, but they were colloquially known as the Jackson Whites, and they had appealed to become and got their status as a Native American tribe. But they are a they're known to be, they're from the Ramapo Mountains in New Jersey. Okay. Or that's where they're indigenous to, or that's where they have retreated to. And that's where they live now. The remaining people from that group. And apparently they have evolved into they were freedmen ended up commingling and cohabitating with them, former freed slaves. So they are this fast. And so I was trying to get an expert to come on, an author, to talk about that. And and the guy wouldn't come on because he said the last time I went on the radio and talked about this group of people, he said he got so much flack from people calling him racist and drawing attention to them and this and that. Meanwhile, I find it to be one of the most fascinating subjects is this group of reclusive Native American people in northern New Jersey. Right. And so anyway, you in the Poconos, just that mentioning a local mountain range reminded me. So you should do some research on it. See what you can find out. I know you're a bookworm. So go do that due diligence and do all the work for me, please.
Okay, no problem.
Anyway, Joaquin, thank you so much, Pally. It's 4:17. Bob in Connecticut. Good morning, Bob. Thanks for calling the show.
TJ, I got Mondani once legalized prostitution.
Yes, sir.
But and here's what I wonder. Are they going to file sales tax returns? And you know, when you're in business, you're supposed to keep books and records. So there would be a list of the customers when they bill them. So wouldn't the divorce attorneys love that? Because they can go in and find the name of the customer.
Buddy, I'm telling you, these are pitfalls. Mamdani's going to find himself in a world of hurt because he's going to be biting off more than he can chew with some of these customers.
Well, think about it. When they file their tax return on their Schedule C, what do they put down as the description? Entertainment, and then for advertising, you know, think about this for your the state's attorneys.
Yeah.
You know how they love to sue for false advertising.
Yep.
So if one of them advertised, you know, tightest in town.
Hey,
get
hey,
sued
yo,
for-
hey, yo, yowza, hey. That was, let's not get yucky. Let's not get yucky. Yeah, yucky. He didn't curse, but yucky. 1-800-848-9222. That's the number for non-yucky conversations. And so you know what? Let's bring the lights down. You know, Eric Adams, Mayor Adams, is known for his self-described swagger. He's a confident man. He's a sophisticated, suave fellow. I've met him. And I got to say, when I met Mayor Eric Adams, it was in the midst of a big to-do. It was a big party. And it was maybe the most inopportune time to be introduced to anyone, let alone the mayor of New York City. He was traversing the floor of this party, a jam-packed birthday party for a celebrity. And somebody said, "Hey, I want you to meet the mayor." I said, "Not now. He was just introduced to talk and he's cutting his way through the crowd." No, later. And they said, nah, it's okay. They said, "Mr. Mayor." And literally the guy was making his way from the back of the room to the front of the room to give to wish happy birthday to the person. And I'm like, I don't even want to meet the mayor in the first place. But this person's forcing me on him the mayor could not have given a damn about going up to the podium at that moment. At least he made me feel that way. He stopped, looked me in the eye, shook my hand, and it was as if he had nothing else to do and nowhere else to be, and as if we were not in the middle of like 300 or 400 people, but literally just the two of us in an elevator. Sort of felt like it was in the elevator with the mayor. Stopped. And he looked at me, and it was like he was looking right through me. And I had like a 2-minute relationship with Mayor Eric Adams. And I'm not the only relationship Eric Adams has ever had. He's also recently had a thing with a woman who has written a book about her relationship, and it's going to be released soon. And these are a few excerpts from this woman's book about her relationship with Mr. Mayor. In our closest moments, I would rub the back of Eric's head where his old surgery scar left him vulnerable. He could sit still for hours if I kept my hand there, as if my touch eased something no one else could reach. One time we took a romantic walk along Brooklyn Heights Promenade. He peppered me with deep questions, revealing a strange purpose of life. I blurted out the first thing that came to mind when he asked me what I wanted to do. I said, procreate. And that's exactly how he felt, too. Early in our courtship, he took me to a hotel opening. He brought me up to a room, and we had a completely chaste and fully clothed, intimate experience. He made it clear he did not require me to be with him, because I said I would not sleep with him. And he said, "It's okay, baby. We're just gonna sleep." Minutes later, I laid down, and he did too. Fully clothed, not a belt undone. He placed his head on my chest and instantly passed out. And somehow, in the quiet of that room, fully clothed, it was one of the most intimate experiences of my life. I knew it was time, though, eventually, that we had to break up. And I asked him to release me. He didn't even flinch.
No more doing drugs.
And he said, no. I wasn't asked to elaborate. I wasn't asked why. We both knew what I meant. But here, in these words, in this very moment, and for my own sanity and survival, I am releasing myself. And then they got naked and they did it.
Perception.
Oh, yes? Yes, Mayor?
Perception.
Perception. Perception.
Let me go to the hood.
And there, ladies and gentlemen, is a dramatic reading of a love story about Mr. Mayor.
We're gonna do two more, and I gotta bounce.
All right. You know where to find me. Did I just say all right? When I'm in character, yo. All right, I'll be here, Mr. Mayor. You and your pointy collar shirts and them shiny suits. Yeah. Yeah.
That's why people are hating on me.
Right? Right? That's why. 'Cause you dress good. You dress nice, Mr. Mayor. People be up in your face about your stuff. Crime rates are down. And the heat is up. The temperature is rising.
And when I do my dime, I can do my time. And I won't hear anyone whine.
Where are these cuts coming from, Billy? Oh, my Lord. Oh, man, it's 4:28. And we done just about lost our mind up in here.
And there's nowhere in the city where you have better eye candy.
No. Mr. Mayor, he was very kind to me, and he told me that he liked my energy. I didn't know where that came from. I didn't know what that meant, but like, it was funny because he did have to shout because we were surrounded by like 300 people at this birthday party. And like, I don't know, but he goes, it's very nice to meet you. I like your energy. And I was like, okay, thank you. I don't know what I'm doing that's energetic. And he's like, what? And I said, oh no, I was just trying to be pithy and funny.
Listen, you know and I know that it's all about the swagger.
He's right. I tell you what, man, he drove me nuts, this mayor. He drove me nuts a lot. But you know what? Son of a gun, if he didn't become a sympathetic figure, and for me as well.
And I think the press is going to be really proud of the level of transparency I'm going to show.
Now you go. I think my impersonation is kind of close. It's not bad, right? I think the press is going to what is that? What's that clip? I think
the press is going to be really proud of the level of transparency I'm going to show.
I think the press is going to be really proud of the level of transparency that I'm going to show. That's not bad.
I walk in the Spirit of God. I talk in the Spirit of God.
I walked in the Spirit of God. I talked in the Spirit of God. That's pretty good. Turns out, I do Mayor Adams. Not as well as this woman, but I do Mayor Adams.
I would tell you I met a shorty there, but I can't say that on TV.
I would tell you I met a shorty, and his name was TJ, and I liked his energy. It's 4:30 a.m. on 77. On 77 WABC. We'll be right back.
All night long. This is Another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's Another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
Okay, great. That's great, Mr. Mayor. Now, about that woman who was set on fire. When the mayor has swagger, there had to be a good, see, that was, the city has swagger. That's kind of a letdown. That should have been a line.
Where are you on the political spectrum?
I am a simple, pragmatic Democrat.
All right. You know what? He ain't lying. He wasn't very complicated, this guy. And what did kind of get a little complicated about him was fascinating. It's like, it's interesting. I find it really interesting that he's a vegetarian, right? And he's into like the crystal healing and stuff like that. That's actually interesting. He's in incredible physical condition. The guy is peak physical form. He is quite dashing. Oh my God, am I falling for Mr. Mayor?
35 years ago, I set my GPS, my God positioning satellite.
Oh, that's good. My God positioning satellite. Tom in the Bronx, line 1. Tom, tell me what you know about these people.
I used to work at the headquarters for Sharp, formerly the Ford plant in Mahwah, New Jersey.
Yep, Mahwah, right? Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and on a coffee break, I was in the break room, and they had a bookshelf, and I pulled one of the books out, and it had some history on the region. And one of the articles I came across was a reprint from a newspaper article about a minister who stated that he normally would not conduct interracial marriages, but since the marriage he was about to perform was between an Italian laborer and a black woman, I believe she was on the Ramapo Mountains. There was some free slaves that came up. He didn't consider the Italians a member of the white race, so he said the marriage was okay. So now I started to do a little research, and they said that was debunked, and they evidently didn't see a newspaper article that I did. You know, that's kind of evidential. When it's written in a newspaper from the late 1800s, the reason, and according to what I heard, the reason, and I actually was at a bowling alley for a league night with my company, and I saw a group of people which were in a tight little pack. They stood out like a sore thumb, and they were of an off shade of white. And I asked one of the employees, who was a local, I said, "Who are those people?" He says, "Oh, those are Jackson Whites."
Wow.
The first time I ever saw these, but yeah.
And again, they're
the only people.
Just to be clear, just to be fair, and not to bring, they are properly known as the Ramapo. Let me get this right here. I want to make sure that I say this right, out of respect, because I don't want to be, and I know you're not being either. Ramapo Mountain people. The Ramapo Mountain people is how those people.
That's the PC name.
That's what I think.
In '83.
Well, PC, yeah, and it's also, I think, they're official because they are an officially recognized Native American tribe.
Lenape, is it?
Lenape, yes.
Indians?
Yes, exactly. Thank you. Yes, exactly.
The only people who could go up, if I could interrupt you, the only
please,
people
go ahead.
who could go up into the mountain area was the UPS guy. Everybody else, the stories were that they'd take a pot shot at you.
Wow.
They would hunt. You'd see they had a deer. What do they call it? A dressed deer hanging from a rope.
Oh boy!
That they had caught, and that was a common sight because they were hunters.
That's like Game of Thrones kind of stuff. Yikes!
Yes.
Wow.
I drove in the area once, and you start going up into the hills, and you realize you're getting away from civilization.
Yeah.
And at one point, I said, "Let me turn around and go back." I think I was up there. There's a college up there.
Ramapo College.
Well, they had a car show on a huge field, and that's why I got lost when I was looking for the car show.
See, that's how the scary movie starts. Tom goes up. Yes. Tom goes to the car show, gets lost in the mountains. He sees a dressed deer hanging from a tree. Says, "I'll keep going. I'm from the Bronx. I can handle it." Goes a little further, and all of a sudden he's having car trouble. And then next thing you know, boom. That's it. It's all over. No more Tom. Wow.
But I think they did have a strain of Italian blood. I mean, where would they have gotten the white?
Well, but again, you had
there was three groups.
Well, it was also yes. There were three groups:
runaway slaves,
yes,
or
freed slaves, Native Americans, and I believe also I think the albinism. I think there was a strain of albinism in there.
Albinos.
Albinos in there. Yeah. I grew up.
Probably with close marriages too.
Well,
people that live in clusters like that.
Sure. And I grew up
very far.
I tell you, if this rings a bell with anybody, up in Westchester, I grew up in White Plains, and in North White Plains, in the town in the area of North White Plains known as North Castle, there is a famous scary road called Buckout Road. Now, if it's almost like if you're going to name a street Buckout, you're basically saying, and this goes back, there was a Buckout fan. This goes back to like colonial times when they named this road. And so it's like, you got to imagine, Jebediah something or other said, let's name this thing Buckout, and people will be scared of it forever. Cause that's the name of a scary road. Oh, you go up to Buckout Road. But it turns out there was a family of, you hate to say, a family of albinos.
Animals.
But no.
Yeah.
But people, a family with albinism in their gene pool, and they lived up on Buckout Road, and people would drive along and see. And I swear to God, I was a junior in high school, and one night, me and a bunch of buddies went up to Buckout Road, and Tom, as I am sitting here in the Bernard McGurk studios at 77 WABC, I saw a mother-loving albino standing on the side of the road in the shadows. I'm telling you.
Was it a black albino or a white albino? Because they do look distinctly different.
This was, I don't know, because I was going too fast. I was going too fast. Man.
All right.
I'm telling you, Tom, but it's amazing the stories that can surround different areas and people from White Plains. You say Buckout Road and they know exactly what you're talking about. Tom, thanks for calling in. Fascinating stuff. I'm grateful. Thanks. Keep listening and keep calling in. All right. 4:45. We're getting closer to Liz Radabali. She's getting ready with the 5 a.m. newscast. Quick break, quarter of the hour. We come back. We talk to Mike and we wrap up yet another one here. Good stuff. Thank you for listening. It's me, TJ, on 77 WABC. Oh, boy, no. That Mayor Adams, I lost it. I lost the Adams. I lost it. It turned into something else. I don't know who the hell that was, but it wasn't Mayor Adams. All right, I'll work on it. The mayor has swagger. Oh, there it is. I got it back. Oh, boy. Oh, my God. I think that's what a shadow person would sound like if they could actually. Ooh. 77 WABC.
All night long. This is another Side of Midnight
with TJ McCormack.
77 WABC. It's another Side of Midnight.
Political humorist TJ McCormack.
Now to the Bernard McGurk studios of 77 WABC.
Here's TJ McCormack.
All right, 4:52. Thank you for that, Bill. 4:52. It is another Side of Midnight. Me, TJ, but it's been a fun show. It's been a fun weekend. Last night, all over the place, and we talked about Earthang for 3 hours. We talked about Earthang yesterday morning. That was nuts. We talked about so much. I actually don't remember everything that we covered yesterday. And this morning, starting with COVID from out of nowhere, and then going right up to our own version of intimate moments with Mayor Adams. I mean, for the love of goodness gracious. Next week, we're going to have, it's way cool. We're going to have Charlie Sheen on. Going to talk to him about his new book. And I knew some of the people on in his universe. We had couple of mutual friends that had to do with his show, 2.5 Men. And we both walked the sobriety path. So I look forward to talking to Charlie about him getting his life on the straight and narrow, blessedly so, because like a few other people, remember when Robert Downey Jr. was like literally the crazy person? Remember that? Showing up in people's backyards and knocking on doors and out of his mind. Robert, I think I was living in, I think Andy's awake now. She's awake. The bombshell is listening. Maybe she can correct me, but I don't know if we were living in LA when he was losing it. But yeah, I think he was because it was like people were like, he's got to go away. He's going to get arrested. He's got to be in jail. He's going to die. He's going to kill himself. He's going to die. And then the son of a gun didn't just save himself, didn't just turn his life around. The guy became like just Mr. Oscar winner, Mr. like prolific, just Boffo, Sacco, amazing actor, like just, elder statesman of Hollywood. Magnificent. And Charlie Sheen saved his own damn life, and that's good. Let's get to Mike in South Carolina. Mike, good morning there.
Good morning, TJ. I was laughing my ass off before.
Oh, cool.
You got Eric Adams down to a T.
Thank you, Michael.
I can do a little imitation myself.
Oh, yeah?
Uh-huh. And I'm riding around with my souped-up SUV. And I give a key to the city to my homeboy.
Oh, jeez.
T. Diddy.
Oh, God.
And
hey, Diddy. Yeah. Boy, Diddy, huh? A lot of people saying he got off light. I don't know if I don't know if 4 years for him is getting off light. You know what I mean? It's like for a guy like that.
Yeah, that's a good, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying the guy's, going from like literally flying all over the world at a moment's notice in a private, $1 billion jet to like,
Yep. And he was like a song, he was a super freak, That's what you be, P. Diddy.
I tell you what, yeah, go ahead.
You were saying you grew up in White Plains.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's where that psycho belongs in a straitjacket. Who you banned from his show? Yeah.
Oh.
Anyway, yeah. Now, I remember when there was a town hall meeting in New York City. A lady was speaking at Adams there, and she lost her mother during the Holocaust. And then he cuts her off and says, you're not talking to me like that. What do you think? I grew up on I'm in a plantation. Right. Remember that?
I do remember that. That was bad. Yeah. That was very bad. I do remember that. That was rough, Mike.
Yes. And I can leave you with this, TJ.
Yes, sir.
And we're glad to have you for 2 days. Like Dr. Anthony said, your biggest fan. I'm right there.
Nice.
I like to. You were playing Rolling Stones song.
Yeah.
My favorite song as a percussionist, Stones. Yeah. Can't You Hear Me Knocking?
Yes.
Can't You Hear Me Knocking?
Yep.
On your windows.
Yep.
Here's a rim shot.
Let me go to the hood.
That is a great song. We're going to play that next week, actually. Yeah. Can't You Hear Me Knocking? Love that song. I can't wait. They got it. Like I just said, they cut a new album. They're putting the finishing touches on it. And if it's anything like Hackney Diamonds, that thing was incredible. Did you hear their last album with that song Angry? Mikey Ooch. Oh, he did the rim shot and then left. Okay. That's cool. No, that's his exit. I should have known. That's his like out cue. Mike has his own. Oh, there you are. Okay, there we are. Oh, you're funny. All right. Well, listen, Mike, thanks for calling in, Pally. Hey. All right, gang. We did it. We did it. We had fun this morning. That was fun hosting Mayor Adams and his lady friend and their dramatic reading of their love life. We're living it transparently. A transparent look at Mayor Eric Adams. If the mayor has swagger, he ain't a grocery bagger. There had to be a good second line. And bagger, dagger, swagger, flagger. Flagger? No. It just ain't gonna work. All right, gang. Well, anyway, this has been fun. And the music always plays a role. Tony and Bill, beautiful guys. I love you. I'm grateful. You guys are fantastic. The best support. This show, man, nothing without that stuff. Thank you, fellas. And thank you to everybody listening and calling. Thank you to all the family over on X, on Twitter. Thank you for being there. I'm going to take a look at all those when I get home. It's tough to concentrate and do that reading and do the talking at the same time. All right, friends. Next week, Charlie Sheen and a few other conversations we've got lined up for you. Until then, I wish you all the luck in the world. God bless. Have a great Sunday and a great week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
It's Another Side of Midnight, 77 WABC.